Hey everybody, it's Shams at Mascara, and today I'm going to be taking you through everything you need to know as a beginner about stamping with Maskscara Stamping Gels. So I'll be taking you through just a little bit of info about the jelly stampers, about what to look for in a stamping plate, and most importantly, how to do the stamping with Maskscara Stamping Gels. Now just remember, stamping is a labor of love, so it's going to require a little bit of practice and there may be moments of frustration, but once you have the art of stamping, it opens up a whole new world to nail art. It's fun, it's easy, and most importantly, it's quick to do. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get started with everything you need to know about how to stamp with Maskscara Stamping Gel. So let's get cracking. When it comes to stampers, there are so many stampers on the market, but we are particularly focusing on this clear silicone jelly stampers. So we have them, and remember your jelly comes with a cap. We have them in a large jelly, you get the small jellies, and then you also get like the short jelly. It just is a matter of personal preference, and I guess why the silicone jelly stampers are this popular is because they have a clear backing which allows you to see exactly where you're stamping. So if you didn't have this, it could be a little bit tricky to center your design. So this is why most people like the clear jelly stampers, because it allows you to see exactly where you need to stamp your design. That helps quite a bit. When you receive your jelly stamper and it's brand new, sometimes we need to let's call it break in the jelly a little bit. There's many ways of doing this. Some people believe that you've got to file the stamper. Some people believe that you've just got to work with it a few times to get your jelly to develop that almost like super sticky layer. There's so many theories of what to do. I usually, when I get my jelly stamper, and I may be taken out for this one, but I do use a lint-free wipe, and I do 2 to 3 swipes of pure acetone across the top of my stamper. Now this is a fairly used jelly stamper, and as you can see, the acetone has not really done anything to my jelly in terms of damaging it. But if you do overuse your acetone on your clear jelly stamper, you may end up distorting the clarity. So just be careful. I would only use or recommend that you use it just for starting off your preparation of your jelly. Thereafter, you can use a lint roller, which is the best to use because it removes all dust off the surface, to clean your jelly stamper in between. If you are one of those who don't mind, you could probably carry on using a little bit of pure acetone to clean your jelly stamper in between. But like I say, it depends on you and how you want to actually spare and preserve your jelly. So if I compare the two, you can actually see this is brand new, so it's crystal clear. This one, I've been using acetone with it. It doesn't really distort it that much. I can still see exactly where my designs need to be placed. But if you want to preserve that super clearness, then I do suggest using a lint roller to clean in between. I'm just that tech that needs things done super fast, so I tend to grab acetone for everything. Creature of habit. We need to change some of our habits, I guess. But I love using the large jelly stampers. So if it comes to a choice of what do I use, some techs prefer using the small jelly stampers for picking up smaller designs. Other techs love the larger jelly stamper to pick up larger designs. I guess it also depends on how long the nail is, so the length is a factor. How big the design is, how much you want to cover will determine the size of your jelly stamper that you're going to use. And like I said previously, size and shape is all about preference. Some people love holding the long handle, some people love the wider handle, and some people prefer the short handles. So it's all up to you. Personally, I am very much in favor of using the bigger jelly. Also, these jellies can be removed. Just be careful with them. I suggest not handling them too much. Some people believe that you can actually just give them every now and then a little warm soapy water wash and then replace them, or I'll put them back into your jelly stamper. It's totally up to you, but there's lots of nail art techniques where you can actually stamp, remove, squeeze, and get all sorts of amazing techniques going. So jelly stampers have become quite versatile these days. You can do so much. Pick up pigment, apply pigment, there is just so much you can do. It amazes me what everybody comes up with these days. So without further ado, let me just take you through a little bit of nail plate important 101s. Right, so I'm going to try and minimize the reflection of all our lighting on our plates. But when you get your plate, one factor that I have learned over the years when it comes to doing stamping is that the quality of the plate is quite important. If you're expecting a good result, then you need to be willing to go with a good quality plate. If the engraving is not that great and it's maybe just surface engraving which is not deep enough, it doesn't really help, because when it comes to picking up the designs, you may not pick up a complete design, and that can be very frustrating. So I'm not talking about where you just, having beginner's luck with stamping and we're picking up half a design. I'm talking about the actual plate engraving is not the greatest, and it does impact what your design looks like at the end of the day. So sometimes if it's not engraved deep enough or just right, you don't get a great sort of end result from your design. So I'm using the Born Pretty Fashion Power L005 plate for this demo, which has become one of my favorites. As you can see, it's got all the little abstract faces, so there's so much that can be done with these plates. Then also, just so you know, when it comes to plates, they all have this protective blue film over the top. And when you're a beginner, you might just try to stamp with the blue film on the plate. Now, don't feel bad, guys, because there's many of us who have done this in the beginning. All you have to do is just try not to use anything too sharp, but you could just work on the edge of your plate. There we go, with a cuticle stick, and it will pull off that sticky film for you, and you just have to remove that, and that is where your plate is ready for stamping. To clean plates, I use pure acetone. The only thing is just be careful about your backing, so that you don't get acetone onto the backing, because it might just melt the plastic. So just be careful about that. But other than that, let's get started with our stamping gel and the 101 of how to stamp. So let's go. We are going to be doing stamping with the Maskscara Stamping Gel, and I'm going to be using black and I'm going to be using white. Now, you can stamp with a stamping polish as well, but there are factors of advantage to using a stamping gel. So this is why in this video we're going to concentrate on our stamping gel. So the best thing about it is color payoff. That's number one. You do get a way better color payoff when you use a stamping gel. So it's highly pigmented and you get a good strong finish to your design, especially when you're using plates that are sort of designed with very fine lines, which is kind of like the plate we're going to use today. So that's going to give me a good payoff for those fine lines and the detail that I might want to see when I'm done with my stamping. The other factor is time. There's a good time window when you're stamping with these gels, because when you use a stamping polish, you normally would put down your stamping polish, scrape, and then you've got like a few seconds to work with to pick up that design, so that you might get the polish drying on the plate. And when you're a beginner, it's a bit daunting to do things like that fast to start off with. So at least when you have the stamping gel, you could apply your stamping gel to your design, scrape it, and you can go and make your cup of coffee and come back, and then your paint will still be okay to pick up your design and stamp onto the nail. So there's a lot of advantages with these two. For me, the two biggest is the time factor. The other one is also definitely the color payoff. So without getting into too much detail, we're going to get cracking. Oh, and one other thing, you can use your black and white Maskscara Stamping Gel for freehand nail art as well. So they make a really awesome product to use as far as those who love doing freehand work. And as we know, black and white gel is always needed for nail art freehand. So you could try and use them in that fashion as well. They're great. So here we go, guys. Let's get cracking with our stamping. Right, so to begin with, make sure you put a piece of paper towel down, because things can get messy with the stamping. And then we have our plates, and we're going to use our plates with the little abstract faces. I love this plate. We're going to be starting off with the black gel, and then let's just focus on something that is actually So important and so overlooked, the scraper. So I love the thin, small scrapers that come in these shapes, kind of almost like an old credit card type of shape. So these are my favorite to scrape with. Sometimes if they're really thin, you might not get a good scrape off. With this one, you've just got to make sure that you keep it upright. But I do love particularly like using these ones to scrape, because the scrape part of the job is actually quite important. So when you are scraping your design, I should say scraping your paint on your plate, and I do apologize if there's a reflection in the plate, we're just trying to avoid it. You want to be scraping at an angle. Some people will do it upright, which you can do as well, but when you're scraping at an angle, the point is to get the paint and pull it across the design. So when you lift it, you'll have the bulk of your paint sitting on the back of your scraper. So some people smear it to flat, and that doesn't work so great because then you've got like a smudgy design. Some people work with the stamper, or I should say the scraper, in an upright position, and when they scrape, they miss sections. So you'll get some parts of the design when you pick it up. You'll see some parts are there and some parts are missing. So it's all about giving it that slight angle to the side, and you are going to just scrape it over. You can scrape twice if you like. It just is a matter of looking at how the paint's actually gone over that design. And if you see that there's too much of a smudge, just take your scraper and go over it one more time. Don't over scrape your design, because then you're not going to pick up much paint, and you might also end up having missing pieces. So just 1 or 2 scrapes should be good enough if you're working with a stamping gel like the Maskscara Stamping Gel. Right, so let's get cracking, guys. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm using some cleanser, and I'm going to clean the sticky residue off my nail. So once you've painted your color on your customer's nail, make sure you remove any sticky residue before stamping. You don't want to have a sticky residue there because you're going to be going across the whole nail, so you don't want to have any residue that could get anything that makes color or fluff or any bits get stuck to it. So make sure that you clean that nail so that you're ready for action. You can also use your cleanser, and you can just swipe over your plate just to make sure that you've got no residue, no little dust particles that could get in your way. And I love using these lint-free wipes in particular. This is the bulk pack from Maskscara. They're the 1000-piece lint-free wipes, and they just don't leave any dust when it comes to stamping. So this is the one that I go for most of the time. Then we're going to have our little scraper ready for action. So I'm just going to give my scraper a clean, and we are going to start with our application. So let's move our little bits to the side. So I'm going to choose my design, and I'm going to get my black stamping gel ready, because we're going to be stamping onto white, and I am going to be applying my paint to the side of my design. So I'm making like a little sausage of paint on the side. So when you were using a stamping polish, you would paint the whole little picture. That's generally what people would do, and then scrape and then pick up. So with this, we don't really want to use that much product over the plate. It's just going to be way too much. So we're going to scrape that little sausage over the design. So my scraper goes in front of my stamping gel, and we are going to pull across, right, so that you get a nice pull off of paint. If you want to, you can go over it a second time. And remember, I said to you that the time factor is what I love the most. So I'm chatting to you and I'm quite calm, and that's not drying, so that's what I love the most. So now I can get my stamper ready, and when we stamp, we kind of gonna go as calm and gentle as possible. So I hope that we can pick the whole stamping process up on camera so you can see. I'm just going to roll it over softly. You can go straight down and pick up, but I love to roll because I just feel it allows me to make sure that I've picked up the whole design, because I can see exactly what's happening in the back of my stamper. So no need to do the post office drill where we go boom. We're going to go nice and soft, and we're just going to pick it up softly. So down with my stamper and rolling it slowly over with the lightest pressure. And if I pull my plate away, you can see that I have my design perfectly picked up on my jelly. Now, again, this is where the time factor helps quite a bit. So you can see I've got a little black line on the side, so I don't really want to stamp that onto my nail. So I can use the corner of a lint-free wipe with just a little bit of cleanser or acetone, and I'm going to go in and just clean up any little detail that needs to be cleaned. You could use a brush as well, but yeah, I love using the lint-free wipe for that. Just works perfectly for me. And now we are going to transfer this onto our nail. So once again, I'm going to roll my design over the nail, so you can see this way I can find the center of my nail, where my design needs to go, if I'm going to place it off center, if I'm going to do color. That's why I love the clear jelly stampers. But I'm going to try and position it so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. So we are going to go onto our nail where we found our position. We're going to try and get the center, and I'm going to roll it gently from side to side, making sure I transfer the whole design onto the nail, and there we go. Well, my scent is a little off today, guys. But that is my transfer of my stamping gel. If you feel you want to take a fine brush and clean up your lines a bit more, you can do so. But honestly, I think this was a great transfer. And can you see how nice and bold my lines are? So that really gives me a good color payoff. So once I'm happy with this, and you could stamp some more, you can add a whole lot of other stamping pieces, but just remember this is a gel, so I would suggest you cure it. So we're going to cure this one for 60 seconds. Right, so in our lamp we go. Right, so out she comes from our lamp, and she's been fully cured. As you can see, she is stuck to that nail. And now you can add your top coat, or you can paint into the design and add little details if you want to, a little glitter, whichever way you feel you want to go. This is the time to do it. You can also do it before, but this is how it looks once it's cured on the nail. And now I'm going to take you through another stamp, and this time we're going to use the white gel. Right, so here we go, guys. So I've got my black polish, which has been wiped, so I've removed the sticky residue. Remember, that's important. I've got a different plate this time. I'm using the Born Pretty Outer Space L001. There is so much cool designs on this plate. I don't know how I'm going to choose. Oh, this is my struggle. And I've got my stamper ready for action. So I've made sure that I've cleaned off the design. You can use a lint-free roller to roll off that design, or if you like me, you can swipe it with a little bit of acetone. It's totally up to you, but let's try our white stamping gel this time. I've also made sure that my scraper is nice and clean and ready to go. And this is where things get a little bit difficult when it comes to choosing your design. Yeah, I'm like looking at this plate and I don't know what to choose. You know, the struggle is real. So maybe let's just go for the wolf, which this is going to be like a kind of a different design. So it's something a little bit more bolder than what we started off with. So again, I'm going to apply my little sausage of gel on the side just to make sure that I've got sort of my length of my little blob of gel needs to cover my whole design when I pull it across. So that's the most important thing to remember. So don't make your sausage a little bit too short. Okay, and then we're going to use our scraper. That's going to go in front of my gel, and I'm going to scrape my design to make sure that the paint has covered. And just cleaning off my scraper, I'm just giving it one more scrape over. And I've got my jelly stamper ready, and we are going to roll over this design. So once again, don't stamp too hard and use too much pressure. It's just a soft pressure that we're going to use, and we are going to pick up our design. Whoa, 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 that one is super cool. I get excited. Yeah, the things that excite Shams is stamping. It comes out perfect. So I'm going to use my lint-free wipe, and I'm going to wipe any of the residue that's along the sides. Just carefully wipe along the sides, and we're going to transfer this design onto our nail. And again, we're going to find our center. Hopefully my center is much better this time. And I'm going to apply, roll my design over the nail to make sure that I've got everything in place. And there we go. That one is cool. I like that. Like a little bit of twilight going on there. So there we go. And this one's going to cure for 60 seconds, and then we're going to top coat it. Now, how cool would this be if we did a little bit of black, purple, and blue marble ink? You see, my mind is already going 10 to 1 here. Okay, so let's cure this one. And there we go, everybody. That's as easy as it is to use the Maskscara Stamping Gel. So these have been top coated, and as you know, top coat is the filter of the nail. So things look even better once you've top coated it. So these are just absolutely beautiful. I love these designs. You can get adventurous with your stamping. You can add color, you can add glitter, you can add detail to this, you can add gems. I mean, there's so much you can do. There's so many beautiful backgrounds you could use and then stamp over it. You could use the opal foil kit and you could stamp over it. That would be amazing. So there is just endless possibilities. We've just got to learn how to think out of the box when it comes to nail art. So have fun with the stamping. Just remember, it does take a little bit of practice. Remember, you've just got to prep your new jelly stamper, and once you've got the technique of stamping under your belt, you don't lose it. It's always with you, and stamping becomes so much fun to do. So I hope this video helps with all those who needed just a little bit of a 101 with nail stamping using the Maskscara Stamping Gel, which is available online and in store. So go out and get it and have loads of fun.